Chosen one. You did not arrive at this moment by accident. Heaven called you here. Curiosity did not lead you to this place. Covenant did, long before this morning ever appeared. Your name had already been mentioned in the courts of heaven, and your destiny had been marked with divine purpose. The Spirit of God has ordered your steps with precision, bringing you to the edge of a supernatural transfer, an inheritance not produced merely through human effort, but released through divine legacy. You have sensed it deep within your spirit, that gentle stirring, that undeniable awareness that something massive is preparing to unfold. This is the moment. You are standing at the entrance of a divine exchange, where the suffering that prepared you is about to meet the provision God promised you. Deuteronomy 8:1-8 reminds us, "It is He who gives you power to get wealth." And chosen one. That power is being activated within you now. This is bigger than money. This is about the mantle you were born to carry. This is not simply about possessions, it is about restoration. The transfer approaching your life bears the evidence of prophecy established before you ever entered this world. Heaven has already supplied what your assignment requires. And now the storehouses of divine abundance are beginning to open before you. Take it in. Your moment is coming. Chosen one. Before you even knew what a calling was, heaven was already preparing you to fulfill yours. You did not suddenly become chosen one day. You were shaped, refined, and forged for this purpose. Every season of delay, every betrayal, every lonely night when you cried out for an explanation served a purpose. Nothing was wasted. What looked like punishment was actually prophecy unfolding behind the scenes. Before heaven entrusts someone with authority, it often permits them to pass through anguish, and that suffering became part of your sacred initiation. Understand this. Anointed one, pain is never meaningless in the life of someone carrying an eternal assignment. I have walked through those places as well. There were nights I thought God had forgotten me, when doors stayed locked for years, when people I trusted vanished at the moment I needed them most. But every unanswered prayer was an invitation to listen deeper, to hear not just His voice, but His pattern. The breaking wasn't to destroy you. It was to empty you of everything that couldn't carry the weight of your next season. What Enoch saw wasn't the glamorous version of destiny. He saw the process. He saw the chosen being crushed, stripped of pride, of dependence on systems, of every false source of identity. Heaven was forming vessels that could be trusted with spiritual and financial dominion. Because chosen one, what's coming to you is more than promotion. It's possession. You are about to inherit something that was always written in your scroll. Supernatural over what once oppressed you. The weight you carried as a child. The rejection that branded you. The loneliness that followed you into adulthood. All of it was divine calibration. It made you feel small. But in the Spirit, it stretched your capacity to hold glory. The emotional storms weren't random either. They were training you to discern atmospheres, to recognize when peace was missing and power was misused. You were learning not to panic in storms, but to command them. I know you've asked, why me? Why did I have to lose so much to find God's plan? The truth is, chosen one, heaven trusted you with breaking points because you were built to handle sacred weight. If others carried what you've carried, they would have turned bitter. But you chose belief over blame. That's why the anointing stayed on you, even when you didn't feel holy. You stayed faithful in silence. And heaven kept recording it. This next move of God, this divine transfer, isn't random blessing. It's repayment. The invisible seasons of faith are now manifesting into visible provision. Everything that drained you will begin to pour back in multiplied form. What once cost you sleep will now sponsor your purpose. You are not entering harvest because you worked harder. You're entering harvest because you refused to quit. Chosen one. I've learned something powerful in my own wilderness. God hides the ones he trusts most. He lets them walk through hidden years while he builds spiritual muscle beneath the pain. That's what happened to Joseph. He was betrayed, imprisoned, misunderstood. Yet every detour was divine positioning for governance. You, too, are being released from hidden training into visible authority. There's a stirring in the unseen, a reallocation of resources, a transfer of divine influence. The systems that once rejected you are about to require your voice. The very environments that couldn't contain you will call for your guidance, because now you're not reacting. You're reigning. You're about to feel the evidence of divine backing, unexpected doors, unusual favor, peace that doesn't make sense. This is the atmosphere of release. Every tear became currency in heaven. Every quiet act of obedience became seed, and now those seeds are blooming, not later. Now, stay in this moment. Chosen one. Don't rush past the ache you still feel. That's your confirmation that transformation is real. Heaven is rewriting the same story that once broke you line by line in your favor. What's coming next isn't compensation for what you lost. It's elevation because you survived. You didn't go through pain to stay humble. You went through pain to gain access. And this access is sacred. Because when heaven funds a destiny, no gate can close it. Chosen one. What you're feeling right now isn't imagination. It's ignition. That trembling in your chest, that warmth behind your eyes, that quiet electricity running through your spirit. It's not emotion. It's activation. You are remembering what heaven encoded into you before time had language. This is not new information. This is ancient identity resurfacing. You've been sensing it for a while. That strange familiarity in new places. That déjà vu when you walk into certain rooms or meet certain people. It's not coincidence. It's calibration. Your spirit is syncing with divine timing. You're not becoming someone new. You're recovering the one you've always been. Anointed one. The world trained you to forget. It taught you to doubt your fire, to tame your faith, to shrink your vision until it looked acceptable. But God never asked you to be acceptable. He asked you to be available. Available for the impossible. Available for the transfer of wealth and wisdom that can't be explained by effort alone. Enoch saw this, a generation of awakened souls who would remember the codes written in them before birth. He saw men and women who would live by revelation, not repetition. You are one of them. That's why shallow conversations bore you now. Why you can't tolerate surface-level dreams. Why small faith makes you restless. You were created for realms where miracles are normal. I know the loneliness that comes with that kind of calling. I've lived it. There were years I felt misunderstood. Too intense. Too different. But now I understand the isolation was incubation. God separated me so I could hear him without interference. He's been doing the same with you. Every delay. Every closed door. Every quiet season was heaven saying, "Be still. I'm building you. Chosen one." Your losses were not evidence of God's absence. They were evidence of his protection. He had to strip what couldn't stand the weight of your next season. I thought I was being punished when my plans fell apart. But I was being positioned. God broke the version of me that settled for surviving to release the version that could carry legacy. You are walking that same path. The narrow road where surrender births authority. This is why your life has felt so intense. Darkness recognizes your frequency before you do. It's why resistance surrounded you every time you grew close to breakthrough. But the same spiritual sensitivity that once made you a target now makes you unstoppable. Heaven is releasing reinforcement. Angels are aligning people. Provision and power around your assignment. What once took years will happen in days because divine memory has reconnected to divine momentum. The system that tried to silence you fears what you're becoming. It fears your remembrance because when you remember who you are, every counterfeit loses control. Fear loses its grip. Lack loses its language. You become ungovernable by anything but God. Chosen one. The silence wasn't punishment. It was preparation. It taught you to hear heaven without noise. And now, as everything hidden is revealed, you'll see the pattern. Every loss was a lesson. Every delay, a design. You're not waiting for a miracle anymore. You are the miracle. The living prophecy Enoch saw. So, breathe. Let it anchor in your bones. This shaking isn't destruction. It's construction. Heaven is rebuilding your reality on eternal foundations. This is remembrance turning into manifestation. And the world is about to witness what happens when the forgotten awaken. Chosen one. The system always recognized your light before you did. That's why classrooms felt like cages. Why workplaces drained your spirit. Why religion left you hungrier than before. You weren't defective. You were disruptive. Every structure that tried to contain you was reacting to what it could never control. You were never meant to fit inside it. You were designed to reform it. From childhood, the system whispered the same lie. Be quiet. Blend in. Don't question what's sacred. But your soul refused to bow. Even when fear told you to stay silent, something divine inside you kept asking, why, what if there's more? That wasn't rebellion. Chosen one. That was revelation trying to be born. Your curiosity was spiritual discernment in disguise. The system calls it defiance. But heaven calls it data activation. Anointed one. I've walked through those same corridors, sitting in churches where the spirit was absent, but the show was loud. Working jobs that suffocated my purpose. Smiling through conversations that felt like chains. I remember thinking, is it me? Am I the problem? But one day I realized I wasn't built to adapt to dysfunction. I was built to expose it. The energy of heaven on your life agitates anything false. You don't even have to speak. Your presence alone makes darkness nervous. That's why you've been misunderstood, misjudged, even mislabeled. People couldn't name what you carried, so they tried to contain it. But what's divine cannot be domesticated. You were sent to interrupt every system that pretends to be righteous, but hides rot underneath. Enoch saw this generation. Those who would not only pray against corruption, but carry the fire to purify it. That's you, the sealed ones, the hidden reformers, the divine interference sent to dismantle deception. Chosen one. You are entering a season where your very existence will challenge structures built without oil. Don't fear the confrontation. Heaven is not asking you to start fights. Heaven is asking you to stay faithful. Your assignment isn't destruction. It's reformation. You will rebuild what collapsed. You will restore what religion abandoned. You will demonstrate what love looks like when power is pure. You were never called to be liked. You were called to bring light, and light by nature exposes shadows. That's why you feel heavy before promotion. Because your emergence threatens what profits from blindness. But remember, even Jesus was rejected in the synagogues before he was revealed in glory. Every no that man gave you was heaven's redirection toward divine authority. I know it's tiring to always be the misunderstood one, the deep soul in a shallow world. But your sensitivity is a weapon, not a weakness. Your discernment is what keeps you aligned when others drift. The same emotions that once overwhelmed you are now antennas for revelation. That's why you sense shifts before they happen. Why you can't rest when injustice hides in plain sight. You weren't made for comfort. You were made for confrontation. Not with anger, but with anointing, chosen one. God has been raising you quietly for this. Every exile increased your oil. Every season of silence sharpened your voice. And now, as the old paradigms crumble, the world will no longer reject your boldness. It will need it. Because where others see danger, heaven sees deliverance. But hear this truth. The first system you must confront isn't out there. It's within. The false self that learned to please, to hide, to settle. The version built by fear must burn so the true one can rise. When that happens, your power becomes unstoppable. You were never created to be managed. You were created to move realms. And chosen one, that movement has already begun. Chosen one. Still, your thoughts for a moment and listen. This is the hour Enoch saw. The vision that once seemed ancient is unfolding in real time through you. You are not watching prophecy happen. You are prophecy happening. Before calendars existed, before stars were hung in the heavens, your spirit was already moving through divine design. Enoch walked so closely with God that death couldn't touch him. And in those sacred walks, he saw this generation, a hidden army that would awaken not when things were easy, but when the world was trembling. He saw a people who would not be swayed by fear, who would stand as pillars while systems collapsed. He saw you not weak, not wandering, but rising, chosen one. Everything that once broke you has now become your backbone. Every delay was a coded appointment. Every rejection was redirection. Every silence was a sacred rehearsal. You didn't lose time. You were being synchronized with eternity. What felt like stillness was God carving strategy into your spirit. You've asked, why now? Why after all this? Because divine timing has no competition. Heaven waits until your inner atmosphere matches your external assignment. You couldn't walk in this authority before because your strength wasn't ready for the weight of revelation. But now, your heart has been tempered by truth, and heaven can trust you with influence. Anointed one, even your pain was prophetic. The struggle you survived wasn't just about endurance. It was about evidence. You were chosen to be proof that grace doesn't expire. When others doubted the promise, you held the line. That's why the transfer that's coming to your life, spiritual, financial, and generational, will not look ordinary. It will look like divine recompense. The resources that once slipped through your hands are circling back, this time multiplied, and mission-bound. There is a reason your spirit feels the pull right now. The veil is thinning. The heavens are speaking. The scroll of your life is being unsealed line by line, revealing that every detour was data. Every wilderness was mapping. You've stepped into a frequency that angels recognize the sound of someone fully aligned. Chosen one. You are standing in the intersection of prophecy and presence. This is where memory becomes mission. This is where destiny stops whispering and starts demanding. You are not being inspired. You are being identified. That heat in your chest, that pressure on your shoulders, that is heaven resting its mantle upon you. And listen carefully. What separates the chosen from the crowd isn't charisma. It's coordination. Divine order surrounds your life. You were delayed so that others could catch up, detoured so that doors could align, hidden so that glory could gather. Even what you called waiting was actually weaving. God, threading every broken moment into a crown. You are not at the end of anything. You are standing at the beginning of unveiling. The world sees endings. Heaven sees entrances. This is the unveiling of the sealed, the release of the reformers, the uprising of those who refuse to bow. Chosen one. Prophecy has found its body in you. The same God who walked with Enoch now walks beside you. You're not echoing his story. You're extending it. You are the continuation of a covenant older than creation itself. So, lift your head. Steady your breath. And remember, this moment was foreseen. You are the fulfillment of what heaven whispered long before your first breath. Chosen one. Can you feel it? That holy tension in your chest. That quiet thunder beneath your ribs. It's not fear. It's the frequency of awakening. This is the moment where revelation becomes responsibility, where knowing transforms into becoming. You have crossed the invisible line between seeking and embodying. Heaven is no longer whispering to you. Heaven is speaking through you. Every cell of your being is responding to divine recall. You've spent years gathering fragments of yourself. The child who felt unseen, the dreamer who waited too long, the warrior who refused to quit. You've asked why the storms had to come. Why silence lingered. Why people disappeared right before breakthrough. But now the pieces are aligning. Every shattered season fits perfectly into a divine pattern you couldn't see while bleeding. What once felt like chaos now reads like code. The wilderness was never empty. It was echoing your name until you learned to answer, Anointed One. This is where remembrance becomes motion. The sacred codes within you. Wisdom, strategy, faith, favor, and creative fire are unlocking simultaneously. You are about to witness divine architecture unfold around you. Meetings will happen by coincidence. Words will confirm what your spirit already knew. Paths will straighten without your effort, because heaven is coordinating from above. You are standing in the corridor between memory and manifestation, and heaven is commanding move. Chosen one. You have waited long enough to be recognized. But this recognition is not worldly, it's heavenly. Your spirit has remembered its authority. You are not seeking permission anymore. You are walking under commission. The Spirit of God has authorized your next steps, sealed your assignment, and ignited your name in the archives of eternity. From this point, you move differently, not loudly, but with a quiet force that shifts rooms. When you step into a room, the atmosphere begins to shift. When your voice is released, disorder starts to settle. When you pray, heaven responds. Every habit that is disappearing, every relationship that no longer aligns, every growing desire to become quiet. Step back and observe. None of it means you are moving backward. It is refinement. Heaven is clearing unnecessary noise from around you, so the anointing can move freely without resistance. You are not running out of energy. You are redirecting it toward purpose. The things that once consumed your strength will no longer control you. Instead of constantly absorbing from your surroundings, your presence is becoming a place from which strength, wisdom, and life flow outward. And chosen one. The blessing moving toward you is not meant to end with your generation. It carries legacy. God is using your obedience to establish something that will outlive you. You are destroying patterns previous generations could not overcome, while building foundations future generations will be entrusted to carry. The doors opening in front of you are not meant to impress people. They are opening so you can fulfill your assignment. You will begin noticing divine movement everywhere around you, resources shifting into position, strategic relationships forming, fresh ideas awakening even while you sleep. What seemed postponed for so long is now arriving according to heaven's appointed timing. I know the magnitude of it can feel overwhelming. But that very feeling is part of the confirmation that this is greater than human ability. You were never selected merely for comfort. You were chosen for the place where earthly limitations collide with heavenly order. Do not become intimidated by the size of what has been placed before you. The same Spirit that raised Christ from death is alive within you, transforming weakness into abundance, delay into authority, and seasons of waiting into spiritual strength. You are living evidence that prophecy is still alive. Chosen one. This new level of authority will not need to demand attention. It will reveal itself naturally. Your fruit will speak before you do. Your peace will become a testimony. The light resting upon your life will announce what you no longer need to defend or explain. You will carry visible evidence of divine alignment provision without striving, timing that cannot be manufactured, and a supernatural grace that makes what once felt impossible begin to move with ease. And when people ask how you did it, you'll smile and say, I didn't. I was sent. So, breathe deeply. The unveiling is complete. You are not emerging as a seeker, but as a signal. Destiny is no longer something you chase. It's something drawn to your presence. Every step you take now reverberates in eternity. Chosen one. Rise in silence, but carry fire. The world may not be ready, but heaven says release it anyway. You are not waiting for prophecy. You are prophecy fulfilled. Chosen one. Now that the veil has lifted, your steps carry a weight that heaven itself acknowledges. The unseen world recognizes your name. The moment you said yes in your spirit, heaven signed your release, and the spiritual realm began to echo your promotion. You are not just turning a page. You are stepping into an entirely new order of existence. What once intimidated you now bows before you because you no longer walk in effort, but in evidence. You are proof that prophecy matures. The atmosphere around you has shifted, just as the sky changes before rain. Your life is shifting before release. You can feel it. The inner stirring, the sudden emotions, the unexpected tests that appear out of nowhere, the isolation that came back right when you thought you were free of it. But this time, chosen one, the pressure isn't punishment. It's prophecy pushing through. It's heaven expanding your spirit to carry what's coming. You are being crowned in private before heaven reveals you in public. Anointed one. You are no longer surviving prophecy. You are fulfilling it. Enoch didn't see a generation waiting for signs. He saw one becoming the sign, and that is you. Every quiet act of faith, every choice to forgive when bitterness would have been easier, every time you stood in integrity while others compromised, heaven recorded it as movement. You've been building altars with your obedience, and those altars have become portals for divine supply. I know the cost. I've lived those nights when faith felt fragile, when you whispered, "God, I still believe," then cried through the silence that followed. But those tears didn't vanish. They became blueprints in the spirit. They built the foundation for the wealth, wisdom, and visibility that heaven is about to entrust to you. God never wastes pain. He repurposes it. In his economy, tears are traded for territory. Chosen one. This next season is divine repayment. The very areas that once broke you will now bless you. The ground that felt cursed will become your inheritance. The pain that seemed to disqualify you has become your passport to dominion. Rejection was never your ending. It was redirection toward relevance. What the enemy used to humiliate you, God is now using to elevate you. Your story carries the vibration of restoration. Even those who don't understand will recognize the mark of divinity on your life. You've been asking why it's felt heavier lately. Why peace keeps colliding with pressure. It's because your mantle is expanding. Your spirit is stretching to match your next mission. You've prayed for influence. But influence requires infrastructure. Heaven is building that structure through you right now. New connections, divine blueprints, strategies that will outlive you. Even your voice is changing. It carries more fire, more weight, more heaven than before. Chosen one. From this moment forward, expect supernatural alignment. You'll speak a simple word, and doors will open. You'll enter a space, and peace will settle like oil. You'll think of a need and resources will locate you. That's not luck. It's covenant activation. You are no longer begging heaven for provision. You are commanding it under divine authority. The blessing is not chasing you. It's attached to you. But remember this truth. The greatest wealth transfer isn't measured in money, but in consciousness. God is trusting you with revelation, with influence, with the kind of peace that reorders chaos. You are becoming the calm in the storm, the voice of reason in confusion, the presence that reminds others of heaven's reality. Anointed one. Heaven is not waiting for you to get ready. Heaven has already declared you ready. The oil has been tested. The vessel has been refined. The flow has begun. So, walk boldly. Speak gently. Move deliberately. You are heaven's investment in the earth. And the return begins now. Chosen one. You are not the echo of prophecy. You are its evidence. Alive and rising. Chosen one. Pause and feel this moment. The very air around you is holy. You are not simply finishing a message. You're standing inside a living prophecy that has ripened through centuries of waiting. Heaven has orchestrated this exact moment down to your breath, down to the vibration in your chest. Everything that has ever broken you, blessed you, or bewildered you has been leading here to this unveiling, to this awakening, to this release. This is what Enoch saw. He saw a generation unlike any other, sealed, refined, and reborn for the final unveiling. A company of souls carrying light that can't be dimmed and truth that can't be negotiated. You are part of that lineage. You are what the prophets prayed for and what creation has grown to see. You are not just in alignment with heaven. You are heaven's announcement on earth. The echo of divine memory made flesh. Anointed one. Listen closely. The waiting season is over. The old cycles have expired. The patterns that once delayed your progress have been dismantled in the spirit. The vaults of heaven are opening not just for blessing, but for building. This is divine distribution. A supernatural wealth transfer into trustworthy hands. Finance, influence, and resources are now magnetized to your purpose. You are not being enriched for ego, but for impact. Heaven funds what it can trust, and it trusts you now. But this release is not only material, it's multidimensional. Spiritual sensitivity, prophetic accuracy, and divine strategy are awakening in you at once. You will begin to know without needing proof, to see without needing sight, to speak and watch reality rearrange itself around your words. Because your mouth has become a mirror of heaven, when you speak, light listens. When you move, purpose follows. When you give it, multiplies. Chosen one. This is the balance Enoch saw. Those who would walk with heaven yet govern on earth. You are stepping into a sacred duality, spiritual authority and earthly influence. You will move through both realms as one who belongs to neither, yet commands both. That is your inheritance. That is why you were hidden so long. Heaven was ensuring that purity would precede power. I've lived long enough under that same anointing to know this level isn't about striving. It's about surrender. It's not about earning. It's about embodying. When you stand in your divine identity, everything else aligns. You'll notice how pressure feels different now. Not like punishment, but like propulsion. The shaking around you isn't chaos. It's creation responding to your activation. And I promise you this, favor is no longer something you chase. It's something you carry. You'll see it in the smallest places. A conversation that shifts an entire path. A door that opens without explanation. A deposit of peace where there used to be anxiety. The same power that sustained Enoch in his walk with God is now walking with you. Heaven has moved from observation to participation in your life. Chosen one. You are entering your commissioning season. This is the moment where heaven places its seal, not just on you, but through you. You are being entrusted with authority that cannot be revoked, to rebuild where others only survived, to restore what religion forgot, to awaken those still asleep in delay. You are not a student of prophecy anymore. You are its living continuation. So, breathe, step forward, speak with conviction, walk forward with grace, and let your love carry a fire that cannot be extinguished. You were known before you were formed, selected before you understood who you were, and anointed long before anyone recognized what God had placed upon your life. Chosen one. Prophecy did not simply speak about you, it was waiting for the moment you would step into it. And now heaven is no longer waiting. The scroll has been opened. The angels have taken their positions, and the divine transfer is already in motion. You are not merely repeating the promise of God, your life is becoming visible evidence of it. Rise now and allow the world to witness what heaven recognized in you from the very beginning. Chosen one, breathe deeply and receive this as confirmation. What was spoken prophetically is beginning to find expression through you. You have entered your Kairos moment, the appointed intersection where divine promise begins turning into tangible reality. There is nothing accidental about this season. Heaven allowed the timing to unfold exactly this way because you have reached a place of alignment, awakening, and readiness to receive what has carried your name all along. Anointed one. The transfer is not somewhere in the distance. It has already started. Every seed you planted in secret, every prayer whispered when no one was listening, every sacrifice that remained unnoticed is now summoning its appointed harvest. You will recognize the shift first within your spirit, and then you will begin seeing it reflected around you. Provision will find you. Favor will accompany you. Peace will settle over you like a covering. The season of unnecessary delay has reached its end, and the gates of divine abundance are beginning to swing open in your direction. Your elevation is not about applause or status. It is about responsibility to carry wisdom, resource purpose, and demonstrate what heavenly order can look like in the earth. Remain humble as you rise. Stay rooted in gratitude and unwavering in faith. Chosen one. If you are able, lift your hands and declare, Enoch foresaw me, and God has activated me. Let heaven receive your declaration. Let the earth come into agreement. Let your spirit confirm what God has spoken. If this message has reached you at the right moment, write, "It is done" in the comments as an act of faith and agreement. Subscribe and stay connected to this stream of encouragement and anointing. Now go forward. Shine without apology and walk with holy confidence, because prophecy does not reach its conclusion with you. Through your obedience, it begins a new chapter,